What's up? Good morning, everybody. Hope everyone's having a good week. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see my screens okay. I've got a new webcam, hopefully a little better quality. I was getting that set up this morning, so let me know how that is, if that's any different. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Anthony. Yep, thanks for letting me know. Victor, good morning. Adam, good morning. Welcome in. Buenos dias, Odyssey. Welcome in, guys. So we got accelerated out of this consolidation range that we had been stuck in since yesterday pre-market. Good morning, Ines. Jai, hi, Jai. Hopefully I said that right. Welcome in. Daniel, good morning. Welcome back. Ishan, welcome in. It's going all right. I took an L yesterday, to be honest with you guys. And it sucks because it was actually a great trade, great location, great confirmations. My stop was just a little too close and I took an L on it. I was in with 4 contracts and took like a 2-point loss, but I actually was looking at this level yesterday, this prior all-time high level. I took it long right down here at the 71s. And I had my stop loss at 69 because I saw some really large buying on tape there and I wanted to see buyers hold above that. And obviously that buying generated this nice rally. But yeah, I got in, I got swept out for like a 2-point loss. It came literally almost just a point under my stop loss. I did not re-enter and then it rallied the rest of the afternoon from there. So I missed out on like a 20-point trade and took like a 2-point loss on it. So pretty annoying day yesterday actually for me. But that's just how it goes sometimes. I mean, after my entry, we saw this nice pop and everything. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And then came back, swept me out. I did not re-enter. It just, I think this kind of psyched me out, seeing this large selling just completely reject. I really wanted to see the buyers hold a little bit higher up here. I saw a lot of significant buying and it came all the way back down, swept out below them and then rallied up. So it's like, got rug pulled, stopped, and then ran up to my target. So even to me, that happens sometimes, guys. Even to me, I'm not a perfect trader. I make mistakes, take losses too. Like, I've been doing this for 9 years and I still get got in this market sometimes. In hindsight, I should have had a little bit lower size and a little bit wider stop under the low a day. And then I would have been fine and, you know, would have gone to hit the target. But the way I was reading it with the significant, that buying that came in, I went in with heavier size and a tighter stop because I was reading it as this should go now with all this large buying. We should not return back to my entry. And sure enough, we did. And I let it breathe and took a small L on it. But so pretty much since yesterday morning, I'll save us from going through the full analysis. I'll briefly touch on it here. We're up near all-time highs. We've been on a fierce rally. We broke out prior all-time highs here at 68. That lasted all of one day, and now we've rejected back under. So this is interesting to watch here this morning, and see if we retest this day. That pretty much just went straight up all day. There was not much kind of key levels of support built in throughout the day. It just kind of squeezed all day. So we'll watch that. I'm going to be watching for any pops this morning to retest these sellers to see what happens, because we came up here. You can see ever since we got to the highs of this day on Tuesday, we just kind of consolidated. Yeah, we did go pop higher one more time, dropped back down, bounced off that where I missed that long yesterday. and then got really flat and consolidated. And then off the news this morning, we had a really sharp, aggressive sell-off back down. So the fact that we've broken now under this consolidation range in the short term, I'm watching out if sellers reload on pops to go probably retest. Nothing crazy, just more like this opening range, this probably 64.40 to 63.30 area, or 64.30 area, sorry. I really don't have a whole lot of levels. Like I said, that day just kind of squeezed straight up all day. This is kind of, I already had this 64.31 key level, and we kind of blasted through it, dropped, reclaimed above it, and then since we reclaimed above it, never came back down. So that is probably the nearest key level. And then obviously these pre-market highs around 64.40s. So I don't have much levels to use. So I'm kind of looking at the ranges, the open, high, and low close ranges on the day, both on a session basis, on a daily basis. So that's what I'm taking a look at this morning. You can see selling was really aggressive this morning on that sell-off from the news. We left this area of low volume. That just means price did not trade there very long. We are bulging here. So when I see a bulge in price, that means, you know, buyers and sellers are kind of holding an agreement here. This has also formed the value area low. But what I'm watching for this morning is if we do pop and hold, especially under the pre-market lows here around 64.77, if sellers continue to have an appetite for more selling. If we reclaim back above these lows, that will be very interesting to me, and I would probably be finding ways to get long and target the highs. Like I said, if sellers have a chance here, you want to see them pretty strongly defend pops right in the first hour and reject this back lower, probably, like I said, into those 64.40s, 64.30s. So pretty short and sweet game plan today. Yeah, now it's just a matter of watching it and executing it. If we do recapture back in this and it gets kind of dead and we just kind of fill out this area that I talked about of lower volume, then we could kind of fail to break down this balance range area. And I'm talking about pretty much this whole area as kind of an area of balance. A lot of volume has kind of bulged and built up there. So just a lot of buyers and sellers kind of agreeing on price. We already had that large expansion move up, slowed down, consolidated. Like I've always talked about, I'm always watching for the market to go through periods of expansion and consolidation. And so I'm watching this area. If we come back into here and it's just a slow grind and, you know, we're just kind of back in that middle of the range consolidation, then I'll probably steer away from executing any trades. If we pop up here and we recapture this low volume selling area, ideally above the overnight lows above 77, then I may look for ways to get long and target the highs again. If we come up here and sellers really are strong and hold really below this like 64.80 area, then I'll be looking for ways to get short and target probably the lows. Good morning, Just Julian, Daniel, good morning, Johnny, good morning, Chi, good morning, Blair, welcome in, good morning. Saw the interview with you and Carmine, great insight. Which that was like from last year or so? Yeah, I think that was a while ago. Yeah, I think we did that last year. Good stuff. Let's go. Welcome in, Joe. Lewis, welcome in. Loud and clear. Israel, good morning. Welcome in. Jerry, welcome in. Good morning. Cool. All right, so that's the game plan in a nutshell. Pretty quick and dirty this morning. No, pretty clear for the first time in a while. I mean, it's honestly been a tough week. I didn't really capitalize on that rally. I missed the opportunity to get in early, and then it just squeezed higher all day, so didn't really find a way to capitalize on that. So it's honestly been despite the movement in the market this week on a couple news related moves, I kind of haven't really capitalized on it. And I find that to happen pretty often with large volatile news moves, because unless you're positioned early, a lot of times those moves happens really quickly, and then it can kind of slow and grind and chop after that. This was a great opportunity to get in on the retest of these lows down here on Tuesday, but it is what it is. Yeah, Ishan, I'm also watching that. If we do drop back down here into that same area that I'm looking to target, 64.40 to 30 area, if I don't get shorts and target that, then I'll also be watching that for longs. It's just an area of interest, and then I'll read how the auction develops around that. Especially if we continue to drop all the way down there without ever popping and retesting these sellers this morning, then I'll be more interested in taking that long. If we kind of pop, retest these sellers, and they're really strong, and we drop all the way down, it's less great of a setup. But if we just continue to dump here and we come all the way down to this demand and I see really strong absorption and buyers, then I'll be more interested in taking that long for a retest back up into there, if that makes sense. Was there a zero print? I don't know. I don't really see any super valid zero prints on my end. I mean, they often form those gaps in price when you have those large, crazy news swings. That's not unusual. I don't give that as much like interest. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. So as always, just got to be patient this morning, wait and see what develops. But you guys know the game plan. It's just a game plan. It's just a area of interest for me to watch the auction, watch order flow around, see how it develops. Welcome in, Trade Mix. Richard, good morning. Welcome in. Why not? Good morning. Welcome in. I missed you guys when I'm not doing the streams for a couple days. Feels weird after the last 2 weeks of doing them every day. Continuing to see some selling coming in. We did have that pop here in the pre-market. You guys kind of see the levels. I was watching this kind of consolidation range that formed overnight. I charted this early this morning already, but the news has changed that. The news has changed that. So now I'm still watching this kind of overnight low level. As long as if we pop over it slightly, you know, okay, and if I see sellers reload. But if we recapture above that strongly, then I'll be watching out and probably less likely to short. Yeah. Ishan said, honestly, that's so true. It feels weird trading alone after sitting here for hours. Yeah. It can be a lonely endeavor, especially all the struggles that you go through in trading. It can be very dark, very kind of lonely and difficult. It's already like one of the more difficult things you can do as a profession, as far as both skill and just self-mastery in order to execute it, even if you do have a trading system and skills. So it's like the difficulty and skill level to be like a professional athlete, I always say. And on top of that, most of the time as a retail trader, you're alone and you don't have all of the support systems that like a professional trader at a firm would have. You don't have all those resources. You have to be the risk manager, you have to be the trader, you have to be your own psychologist, you have to be your own coach, you have to do a lot. So it can be lonely, especially as you're learning and struggling. It can be very difficult. But despite me doing all this kind of stuff, I am actually pretty introverted, so it does kind of suit me. But it is nice to have kind of a community, and we have a good thing going here with everyone that's tuned in to all the lives. It's pretty cool. So it does help having kind of a support system, at least of a group of traders that you're with, can learn from. That's the big thing, like learn from each other's mistakes, learn from each other's successes. You're going to just learn way faster than trying to do it on your own. What I usually do outside of trading, just spend time with the family. I like golf. I have a boat. I go boating. I live in Florida. Go to Disney a lot because we have passes and we live right next to it. I like the outdoors. Spend a lot of time outdoors and doing stuff. I do a lot of running and doing an ultra marathon at the end of the year. So all right, I'll shift my screens over now because I'm always doing that at like the last second after the market opens. 100-mile, no. This is just my first, so I'm just doing a 50K. But so this DOM data will clear out after the 9:30 bell. I have it set to do so automatically. So this will all clear out, but I can still see information that I need on the footprint chart and on the volume profile. This is kind of, if we do pop and reject, it would be like the exact inverse move from the news move that we had on Tuesday, which would be interesting. It literally would be like almost an exact inverse move day. Drop, retest, drop, after we had the rally, retest, rally. NQ testing and holding all-time highs. Yeah, that's a good point. Let me check NQ. It's still under its old all-time highs as well. And it looks like NQ did not recover quite as much as ES did yesterday. It's trying to hold. It's wicking. I'm looking at the 15-minute on NQ. It's trying to hold. It's kind of wicking around. Have to keep in mind the market is still very bullish. We're near all-time highs. Usually impulsive sells are an opportunity to buy, so want to be cautious with shorts. It's just a little tough to come up with a long game plan right at the moment unless I see something significant develop. And we could possibly see that. We could, if we hold these above these lows, above 50s, and I see some demand form intraday, then I may use that, 70 to 80 area as a target for just a quick retest scalp long. But I will be honest that it's a little more difficult to do that, kind of going against the large selling that occurred this morning and not being so far off the lows now, because we made a low. Let me mark this kind of impulsive new low around 64.53. So already up, like 15 points right now from the lows of the news. So we're kind of a little bit in the middle. If we see a drop that holds with significant buying, then I may look to scalp it long and target that area up here, that 70 to 80. But the problem is like I said, we're already so close to it now and still buying up. And it's just a little bit in the middle for me to put a high quality trade on risk versus reward wise. Good morning, Ray. Welcome in. There we go. So a lot of buying right off the rip here. Bookmap is a little tricky when those big moves happen, trying to get kind of the view and focus of how I like. Could see some volatility this morning, after having that big drop right off the news there. So want to be careful here and ideally put on a high quality trade at a key area. You don't want to get chopped up in the volatility. Yeah, and also that's a good point. Trump is set to speak later this afternoon at 1 p.m. So watch out for that. NQ is looking a little stronger here. They're kind of moving in opposite directions at the moment. ES is weaker. Ugh. Tired. Baby kept me up last night. What up, robot? Welcome in, dude. There is a lot of buying trying to defend this little low on ES, and NQ is popping quite a bit stronger. I'm seeing this bid appearing here at 62s. So we definitely could possibly see that scenario where we kind of look to scalp along back into that 70 to 80 zone. If sellers can't break down these lows here, it could set up for a nice little opportunity to get in longs here. See this bid here holding. See if it pulls back again. If I see a bid reappearing and continuing to hold it, like I said, NQ is relatively stronger. So if ES can find some support here and pop, they could both pop back up into that those news sellers. I really liked that little dip and pop. I just took that long at 65. What did I get filled at? 64.50. And I'm going to go break even right away. This is like right now type of trade. So I liked this little dip and pop here. So I triggered into that at 64.50. And I'm going break even with my stop loss. I would love to see a pop above these pre-market highs hold into like 77 to close to that 77 level, that overnight low. Get a nice little momentum long to retest those sellers from the overnight low. But risk is off. Break even now. I got a very, very sharp entry down here. If I'm right, there's not really much reason for that to come back and get retested. We already kind of shifted. See these lower highs? We broke those lower highs up in my direction. So I really have no reason to have risk below my entry now. Get a nice little pop. I'm going to go out half here for 9 points. Adjusting my orders. I'm out half at 73 for about 9 points. And that was, so my risk when I initially took that trade was just below that impulsive little low, below 63, so 62.75. So my risk was about 1.5 points. So I'm already up 9 points on 1.5 points of risk. See if we get one more pop above into these offers and I'll be all out here. One more nice little pop and I'll be all out. Come on, don't fail me now, buyers. Don't fail me now. Just one more little pop. One more nice squeeze. Right into these offers here, 74, 75. MQ is still relatively strong. I don't like how this buying is just getting halted here. Just one more impulsive pop. I don't like that offer appearing. Let's blast through this right now. I do not like how that offer was just appearing right here. You can see it's clearly holding price under there. Now there's a bid popping up. There's some funny business going on right here. It's definitely some funny business. Offer appearing, selling, bid appearing, buying. Some funny business going on here. Want to see this hold above 70s here. There we go. Really want to see this hold above 70s here, where this offers were that we blasted above. Again, risk is off. I'm not going to take a loss on it. I would like to get one more pop into my target. I already scaled out half. It's going to suck if this comes all the way back on me, but ES is just a lot more relatively weak to NQ. NQ is still kind of maintaining up a lot higher. It's pulling back slightly, and ES is pulling back way more. NQ is still staying quite a bit stronger. There we go. There we go. All out on that break right there. Ah, I got filled at 73, same as my first target. It popped up to 74, and I clicked flatten at the market, and I got filled at 73. I tried to get another point out of that, and oh well. About 9 points there on a 1.5 of risk. Let me show you. Let's see if I can unhide my P&L here, show you guys. Honestly, don't even remember how, because I always hide my P&L, but I'm out of the trade. I'm done now. So here's the trade. $850. Risk was about $150. So we had this drop down here, got in long. My stop loss was under. You can see where this low volume pop was. So my stop loss was literally just under here, under these 62, around these 62s. Got in around 64. So it was about 1.75 points there. So about $175 risk. Took it off that first half there at the 73s. We popped again. I flattened right up here above 74, but I guess it had already dropped back and filled me at this large 200 lot positive delta here at 73. So I was quick, but I guess not quick enough because it filled me at the same spot. Either way, still almost 9 points on less than 2 points of risk. So nothing crazy, but a win's a win. There it goes, rallying up now. It's all good. I'm out of it. I got my piece. Just joined the stream, spotted the same move, but hesitated. Yeah, that was one where if you hesitate, stay out of it. Either you caught it like sniper fast like I did. I honestly couldn't even like call it almost real time. By the time I was in, it was already like popping. So again, I don't do these streams to give you guys trade signals. I'm just giving you education and entertainment to see what I'm doing and see how you can maybe help your trading with it. I'm not doing trade signals because I don't think anyone's successful long-term in trading by trying to use signals. It just doesn't work. I promise you. But that being said, I do share transparency, share my live trades. I'm trading a live personal account, real money. This is not a fake demo account. Again, I just showed you guys my live account. It's not a demo account. It's not a prop account. So your favorite guru that's making 30 grand a day is probably trading a demo account. All right, guys. Pretty quick and simple plan today. We still could reject under these 77s, and that's why this setup that I said from the beginning in the pre-market was intended to be a quick scalp. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Carmine. Carmine's legit. I'm talking about 90% of the nonsense you see on the internet. What was I saying? I just got distracted. Man, I am tired, guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was up most of the night. The baby kept me up. So I'm like kind of zombie right now. So it was nice to kind of still be able to perform with a lack of sleep and ice latte keeping me going this morning. So like I said, since the pre-market, the plan for that trade was just this quick scalp, hopefully into that 77s. I front ran it a few points because we were seeing all this absorption and seeing how price really slowed down there. So I scaled out. I'm a scalper. You know what I mean? I read the tape and take quick high risk versus reward scalps. So I don't need to catch a whole daily range to have a profitable 4 or 5R. So I was risking less than 2 points there. Even if I risked a full 2 points, that was still a 4.5R multiple trade. Calculator. I'll have to upload this stuff into TradeZella. which I use for data tracking purposes. But so I actually realized 8.5 points, 0.75 point risk. So it's 4.8 R multiple on the trade, almost 5 R in a couple of seconds. So again, on the live streams, I sized down to like 1 to 2 contracts because just minimize pressure. Otherwise, I like to trade typically like 2 to 4 ES. But you guys see, like there's no BS here. I showed you guys the live trade. But like I said, the plan for that trade was a quick scalp into those 70s because we had all that sell side momentum. The next setup that I was watching was for sellers to potentially reject. I'll say a key confluence for that trade was just how much relatively stronger NQ was. So I had a lot more confidence taking that little bottom reversal on that little pullback and taking that for a little momentum scalp into those pre-market news sellers because NQ was so much relatively stronger. So I had more confidence to take that setup. I think in the pre-market, I said I was a little wary of that setup, but I had more confidence in that setup because NQ was so much relatively stronger. I had a good feeling that the strength on NQ and buyers kind of supporting that dip on ES, I had a very good chance of at least just going and retesting those sellers. Now, does it go up all day from here? Maybe it goes all the way back to all-time highs. I don't know. I already caught. What I'm looking at is a perspective of risk versus reward for the setup that I was trading. You know what I mean? I don't need to catch a full daily range crazy move. On my right-hand side, I have 6 monitors. On my right-hand side, I was looking at just 15-minute chart of NQ and a 15-minute chart of ES. I don't really need to see lower time frames. I'm seeing like the order flow as it comes in. I'm not trading off the chart. I'm not looking for a 1-minute candle chart pattern to form. I'm looking at the order flow by the second as it hits the market. So I don't need to see a pattern on like a 1-minute candle chart. I'm just looking at the 15-minute charts to just give me a general structure of where the market's at. And then like you guys can see here on Bookmap and like I showed you on my footprint chart, I'm seeing the real-time orders as they come in the market by the second. I don't need like a 1-minute chart because even like a 1-minute chart, I'm already in a trade before. Like if you look at my entry, let me even pull up a 1-minute chart. I doubt there's pretty much nothing on a 1-minute chart that would tell you to get long right there when I did before that aggressive move happened. But seeing what I saw in the order flow, there was a large buyer that popped in at 64.65 and the selling kind of dwindled under that. And that's when I said, okay, I'm in. And this thing's still blasting. So all the way up into the 80s now, relatively strong. NQ is so much relatively stronger. It's already going back towards the news highs. So I would kind of probably be thinking about invalidating that short setup on ES. So I'm thankful that I caught the long scalp because the relative strength we're seeing here this morning would kind of steer me away from shorting this. Even though that could work, it'd be a little tougher to catch just because of how strong this pop is. There's a lot of large buying. Hey, good morning. Can't pronounce your name, but and something. You're new here. Would you briefly tell me what you looking for? It's kind of already done now. I already took my scalp. I was looking for shorts if price rejected on ES under 64.77, or I was looking for longs off the open to target that level, which is what I caught this morning. I start the streams at 9 and I go through my pre-market analysis before. I will post the recording. So if you'd like to go back and review, you're welcome to, and you can see the live execution of the trade, exactly what I saw. You know, I don't know how I can be more transparent. I even showed my live account and the P&L on the trade. So any questions? Kind of an early day. Honestly, I kind of needed it. I'm I'm pretty worn out from not getting much sleep last night with the baby, but thanks, Anthony. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's a nice, quick scalp setup this morning. Yeah, I didn't, capitalize on this whole move, but I had a target in mind, those 77s, and I saw price starting to reject below it. Almost a 5-hour trade regardless. All good. Caught my piece. You don't want to be in the mindset and having FOMO about not catching all of every move, because then you're going to take great trades. You're going to be frustrated that you didn't catch the whole trade. Wow, there's a lot of selling coming in now. And then it's going to cause you to miss other good opportunities or force bad trades, and make mistakes. So we are recapturing back below that level now, and a lot of selling coming in. So that short setup is still looking pretty valid. That was some pretty hefty selling that just hit there on the retest of that area. But yeah, you have to have the mindset that you have a repeatable trading system, and there are repeatable scalps that you take. You have entry confirmations and you have targets that you look for, and that is your piece of the move because you had a plan for it and you had a trade set up for it. Whatever else happens after that, whether it keeps going up, whether it reverses back down, doesn't freaking matter. And if you're in the mindset that you need to catch all of every single move, I promise you're setting yourself up for failure, because it's going to cause you to mishandle good winning trades. It's going to cause you to, blow yourself up taking bad trades out of frustration because you didn't catch all of every move. You know what I mean? So that's not what trading is. Trading is having repeatability in the setups that you look for and the trades that you take, and then being okay in the short term with whatever outcome. Accept the risk, take the trade, and wow, this is really selling off now from that level. So that played on that. We popped just a little bit above those 64.77s. If you guys remember from the pre-market, I talked about this whole area where we had lower volume here, between 70 and 80. We popped up in there and strong reject now from that. I didn't take it because I'm talking to you guys, and I already caught my trade. So I'm going to move on and work on other things. I got a lot of new exciting stuff coming for you guys, and that's what I've been working on. I haven't been doing so many streams this week. I did, this is the second one. I did one on Monday. Yeah, Lewis, I mean, I don't have a hard rule, but kind of a soft rule of thumb. If I take one nice winning scalp to start the day, usually if it's more than 10 points, then I'll be done. But this was really close, like almost 9 points, minus a couple ticks. And I'm on stream with you guys talking through the stuff. So it's a one and done day for me there. But as a general rule, if I start off with one nice win, then I like to enjoy the freedom that trading allows me to have. And that is my time is the most valuable thing. You know what I mean? But I have a lot of other exciting stuff that I'm working on for you guys, like I said. So get ready for that. My favorite platform is Bookmap, and I have never seen any other tool. It's already on my screen here. That has a better backtesting feature. So I have lots and lots of data. You can record the data over time, and then you can go back and replay it. Most other tools that I've seen, even like Footprints and everything for like replaying the data, it's very choppy and it doesn't have the authentic feel of what it was like to watch the price action live, how it developed. Bookmap has that. So it's an amazing tool for the specifically for reviewing old moves on the order flow and how it like came into the market live. In my opinion, I've never seen anything better than that. So, and really the feel and the speed of the price action as it develops and the size of the orders as they come in is really key to understanding how to trade order flow. The pace and the size of orders as they come in, it's something that you just get a feel for. And then you develop setups around. So I have very specific setups that I look for and very repeatable signatures in price and volume that I look to enter on. However, that was just developed from a lot of time and experience watching this. And I have such a feel for it. When I see those things develop, it's like an impulsive reaction. Like this morning when I just caught that long, it was like an involuntary bodily action. Like I couldn't even like control it. I saw it develop. It was like an impulsive reaction, like just take the trade, because it was something that I was already watching for. I saw the signatures develop in the price action, in the price and volume and order flow. And it was like an involuntary reaction for me to just take the trade. Before I could even like think about it and communicate it to you guys, I was already in the trade, because it's just like an impulsive thing, because I have just so much experience doing this. So I try to communicate with you guys after the fact and share what I saw, so it helps you develop your own trading. Good questions though, guys. Hopefully that all makes sense for you. But yeah, I've got lots of other content that I'm working on for you guys. I think it will be really good. So I think it will help you specifically. That's all I'm looking to do. If you know me, if you follow my channels, you know that I'm not like a lifestyle influencer. I'm not just like posting fluff and BS. Like I try to share things that I think will genuinely help people that are trading. I've been doing this for a long time, so I try to share like real valuable stuff that's going to help you with your trading. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I recommend checking out the page there. That's where you'll get like the most real-time updates from me on everything and when we're doing the next lives. And I will post whenever I'm doing, these weeks where I do a lot more live streams. I always do 1 or 2 a week, but there's some weeks I do more. So if you want the most real-time updates from me, trade recaps, and just trading tips and insights in general, then I recommend checking out Instagram. Matt Owen Trades across everything: X, Instagram, TikTok, etc. No, I already caught my one. I'm good. But I would say this was a pretty nice aggressive sell from that level, and buyers held right in this consolidation where I exited my trade around 73s. So that my exit was a great opportunity to get back in again, and we've bounced back up. So a lot of strength in the market right now, especially because NQ is leading so much. So that short setup I find a little tough now. So thankfully and this is why I don't ever have like one view of the market in my mind. Like I don't have like a bias of like the market's going down today, the market's going up today. I have multiple scenarios and game plans for how it could develop based on the current location. And then based on the order flow and the price action determines the setups that I take, because I have multiple different scenarios that could play out. And I'm not in my mind thinking like, oh, I'm only looking for shorts today, today's going down, or I'm only looking for longs today, today's going up. No, I have scenarios of things that I think the market could play out in the market. Anything could happen. And I read that in real time to see how it develops and how I'm going to execute the trade on it. Yeah, I'm a math person as well. I'm a computer science graduate, so I promise you, I had a tech career before this, and I've done my fair share of calculus and differential equations in college. Yes. So I've talked about this before, especially as a new trader. You don't probably look to trade everything like I trade. I pretty much only trade ES and NQ. So I have like a master surgical precision with those things. So I have lots of setups for lots of different conditions, but I'm only trading that. On the other hand, someone could have maybe just like one setup that they look for, but they look at lots of different like stocks and indexes and things for that setup. But starting out, just exactly like you said, from a mathematical perspective and just from a skill development perspective, I always tell people, find one setup, just try to master that setup on one name, and really master that. And what that means is you just trade less. You're not trading as often. You're just waiting for that one A+ setup that you really know and master that. And that's going to be the fastest way to be a profitable trader. But I've been doing this for a long time. And I pretty much only focus on the index futures. And so I have lots of different setups that I trade depending on the different conditions that I have mastered over time. But definitely as a newer trader, I always recommend just focusing on one thing, one setup, and mastering that. So I agree with you, even though I'm just at a different place and I have lots of different setups and scenarios because I've been trading the index futures for so long. And I don't say that to say that I'm better than anyone or anything like that. That's not, I'm just explaining, in my view, there's two different routes that you can go. You can either have like one or two like setups that you look for and trade like lots of different names on them, or you can really master like one thing and have a good number of setups that you develop over time. But either way, as a newer trader, I always recommend really just try to master one thing, one setup. Be patient for that and don't overtrade. It just means you have to trade less and put in more work, back testing, forward testing, and reviewing your data and all that kind of stuff, and less time executing trades. More screen time, more time, analyzing price action and waiting for that setup, less time just blasting off trades with no plan. Yeah, I've got lots of new stuff coming in. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but in ANBH01. Would you say an order flow trader, you feel the market too when trading because you don't have hard setups like most technical traders? Reading order flow is also, interpret it right. So that's not totally true. I have pretty firm setups. And if you saw the setups that I have and how clearly documented they are as far as like conditions, chart patterns, time of day, order flow patterns that I see to actually enter and execute the trade, it's very detailed. It's not random. But that being said, I have a very good feel of the order flow and the pace of the market for when those different setups are valid, if that makes sense. And it always starts with market conditions and location, kind of filters the setups that I'm looking for. And then, the technical areas, chart patterns, et cetera, that I look for. And then the time of day and type of session that I'm looking for that trade. And then the actual order flow confirmations that I use to execute that trade. If you're just looking at order flow to pop off random trades at non-key locations all over the place, you're going to start imagining things that aren't there and taking too many random trades and small losses. So you really need to hone in on key areas, specific setups as far as conditions, patterns, etc., time of day, etc. And then the order flow comes in to really pinpoint the timing and execution. And that's how I'm able to have very high risk versus reward. What are your settings on the DOM Pro function? Reset at open? Yes. Yeah, there's a setting to reset at open. Show you my DOM settings here. Reset options. Reset at open. Reset at open at 9:30 a.m. So at 9:30, I used to clear this out manually, and then I discovered that, so it automatically clears for me at 9:30. I will, in my pre-market analysis, I will I will note if I see anything significant in the pre-market. I can also see that on my footprint chart, so I don't need it. But as far as what I'm looking at on this DOM, I like to see just what develops during the regular trading hours after the 9:30 bell. Hey, Hawkeye. Yeah, I recommend going back and rewatching a stream. I will post a recording. I took a long scalp this morning, about 9 points on less than 2 points of risk, and I already got in and out. So I've been just kind of talking through some different things, questions that people have, et cetera, and answering them. But I will post the stream if you want to see the analysis and the trade execution live, shared literally everything live. So you can go back and watch it. Nice. Yeah, I was in the military. I got an engineering degree, computer science, and then I got into trading many years later. Trading almost 2 years and down. It's all right, man. Just don't over risk. Don't keep digging the hole deeper. You have to focus on the process of just being a good trader and let go of the money. I recommend trading smaller, as small as possible, like one micro contract while you're learning. You're paying tuition to the market while you're learning, and it's up to you how much the tuition costs. You know what I mean? It's the same tuition whether it's, you trade 10 ES contracts or one micro contract. Don't make the tuition more expensive than it needs to be. Trade as small as possible while you're learning and just focus on the process of being a good trader. And then, profits and stuff like that will just come over time as you get it, as you build consistency. And then, yeah. 932 failed short. I probably wouldn't have. I was seeing a lot of buying coming in, and we already made a low on that news, and we saw significant buying come in, and so I didn't really have any key technical levels down here. I just had that 77 area that I was watching to be retested, and that was where I was saying if sellers were going to reload, it would be around there. So I wasn't looking for shorts ahead of that. There just wasn't any kind of key level here. And we were seeing a lot of significant buying on the highs and leading up to the opening bell at 9:30. Look at this. Higher low, higher low, higher low. So the selling was small and the buying was significantly higher. So, and then on top of that, I saw this bid appearing down here. And that was what sparked my interest really for the trade. I wouldn't have looked for shorts there. Like I said, if we popped back up into that 70 to 80 range, then I was going to look for shorts. But I ended up taking it long and targeted that 70 to 80 range. And we're still selling back and we're still kind of consolidating here in that 70 to 80 range. But I will say sellers have already tried to reject a couple times now, and buying has stayed strong up in here. So I'm a little more wary of trying to short that now, but it still could work. We still have not really broken above that 80, and sellers are still trying to reject it. We're just spending quite a bit of time up there, and ideally we would spend less time and sellers would reject stronger. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, I'm working on a lot more stuff. As soon as I end the stream, I'm working on some other content that I'm going to be releasing for you guys. So hopefully y'all stick around, keep joining the lives. Like I said, follow on Instagram if you want the latest updates from me. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks for your questions. Appreciate the great questions that help everyone learn in here. So yeah, I'm super tired. Better call Con. Thanks. My eyes twitching. I don't know if you guys can see this, but my eyes been twitching. Kellen Rock, thanks for joining in. Better call Con. Thanks for tuning in. Victor. Trump is speaking at 1 p.m. Watch out for that. Thanks, the Lucky Hodak. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks. We'll check out your other streams. Yeah, all the recordings are posted, and I got a lot more stuff coming out for you guys to help you. So thanks, everyone. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.